According to the World Intellectual Property Organization, intellectual property refers to creations of the mind, such as inventions, literary and artistic works, designs as well as names and images used in commerce. So what is the organization doing to better protect intellectual property across the globe? How do countries rank in terms of innovative performance? And have advances in technology affected the intellectual property ecosystem? Welcome to Issues and Insiders. Today we share with you the work of one UN agency assigned with the task of protecting intellectual property. For more, I have Daren Tang, the Director General of the World Intellectual Property Organization, here in the studio with me. Mr. Tang, it's a pleasure to have you with us.
It's a pleasure, Sunny. It's great to be here.
Right, Mr. Tang, let's start off with a few words then about the World Intellectual Property Organization, including, of course, its work.
Yeah, well, World Intellectual Property Organization, or WIPO, it's a UN agency that's in charge of intellectual property, innovation and creativity. What we do is that we help our 193 member states use intellectual property as a catalyst to create jobs, to attract investments, to support business growth, and ultimately to drive economic and social development. One of the things that we do that's very unique amongst the UN agencies is that we provide services directly to the private sector. And many Korean companies are big users of our services. So for example, LG and Samsung are amongst the top 5 users of our international patent system. And Amore Pacific, that many of people over Asia use, their products, are amongst the biggest filers of trademarks with WIPO. Apart from all this, WIPO also provides a lot of development support and training. WIPO Academy trained 270,000 people all over the world in the last 2 years on how to use IP in all kinds of, in their career, to support their businesses. And so this is a snapshot of the work that we do. We help people to use IP to grow and develop.
Right, that is good to know. Mr. Tang, would you say it's more important, or it has become more important perhaps, to protect intellectual property, especially in this rapidly changing modern society?
Absolutely. As a result of the pandemic, in fact, new ideas have come up, new ways of looking at technology, new business models, because the disruptions by the pandemic has also created a lot of rethinking about what it means to grow and develop. Businesses are looking to grow in new ways, and countries are looking to grow in new ways as well. And increasingly, the answer is that companies and countries want to use innovation, digitalization, entrepreneurship to grow. And so IP filings all over the world, in Korea and elsewhere, have accelerated in the last few years. In Korea, for example, IP filings have grown by 10 to 20%, and around the world, IP filings have also accelerated. And I think IP helps to protect new ideas. And if you're not using IP to protect new ideas, there's a big danger that your ideas will be copied by others. But beyond protection, IP also can help you to commercialize your ideas. It can help you to connect with other inventors. It can help you to attract investments from funds. It can be a way to create partnerships. So I think IP has become very important to the global economy.
Right, so in a way you're setting up a network between these people interested. Yeah. Broadly speaking, Mr. Tang, what has been the role of WIPO in addressing global concerns, including public health and perhaps climate change, do you think?
Yeah, well, a lot of WIPO's work is not just helping individual member states, but helping the world collectively. And we believe that in global challenges like overcoming the pandemic and climate change and other global challenges, we need to have innovation as a part of the solution to overcome these global challenges. So for example, in climate change, WIPO has a very interesting tool called WIPO Green, which is a global technology matching platform where we connect those who are innovating in climate change related technologies to connect with anyone else in the world who needs to use that technology. And right now we have 130,000 technology offerings on WIPO Green. And I've come here to also invite Korean companies to be part of this WIPO Green platform. Korean companies are beginning to play a very important role in creating new renewable energy-related technologies in solar energy, for example. And we think that Korean companies can now be part of the WIPO Green platform. In the area of the pandemic, WIPO has been helping member states by creating a package to allow member states to be better at tech transfer, to use the IP system for better health outcomes. And we are right now supporting 38 countries to train them in different areas of how to build a stronger intellectual property ecosystem so that they can absorb the technology, they can innovate as well, so that they can overcome challenges such as future pandemics. So I think this part of the work is also very important.
I see.
Yeah.
I'm also aware, Mr. Tang, that your entity ranks the innovative performance of countries around the world every year. That
Yes.
being said, could you share with us some of your findings for the year 2022?
Well, first, we want to congratulate the Republic of Korea because the Republic of Korea has been the top country in the Asia-Pacific region, a very competitive region, for the last 2 years in running. Korea ranked number 6 in the global rankings. And that means that Korea's innovation and creative ecosystem is now being recognized as the top, one of the top in the world. But beyond just the rankings in Korea, what's interesting is that because innovations become globalized, more and more of the strong performers are coming outside the traditional innovation powerhouses of Europe and North America. Countries like Estonia, Philippines, Vietnam, Turkey, India are also very strong performers on this global innovation index. So I think what's very interesting is that innovation is now no longer just coming from certain parts of the world. It's now becoming important to Asia, to Africa, to Latin America. And in fact, 7 in 10 IP is now filed from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. So the world has truly become very global. And the Global Innovation Index tracks all these metrics and allows policymakers to understand what's going on in each country as well as globally.
I see. And this is an impromptu question, Mr. Tang. Well, how do you explain perhaps Korea's standing in the global arena with regard to this ranking?
I think there are a couple of factors for Korea's success. And coming here and visiting many of the Korean stakeholders for the last few days, I've gotten additional insights. I think first, the Korean government and industry and professionals work together in a very cohesive manner to develop the strategy over many decades and to execute the strategy in a very consistent way. And I think that's really paid results, not just in terms of Korean innovation, but also the Korean creative economy, the Hallyu phenomenon. Second thing is that I think Korea has been able to bring all the different elements together in a way that many other countries are not able to. So for example, you've got in Korea many different agencies that support different parts of the Korean innovation ecosystem. And I think thirdly, the last thing I would say is that Koreans, in whatever they decide to do, they take it very seriously. Last night I was having a meeting with the Presidential Council on Intellectual Property, and they said that Koreans are very hungry. And therefore, whatever they do it really, really well. And I think these are some of the factors, soft factors, that explain part of the reason why Korea is so successful in building a top-class innovation ecosystem over such a short period of time. At WIPO, we see Korea as a role model. So a lot of the work that we're trying to do here is to see whether we can take the Korean model and apply it with modifications to other countries as well.
Right, I see. Moving forward, Mr. Tang, some say the advances, the remarkable advances in technology in recent years, that is, are perhaps disrupting the intellectual property status quo. What do you say?
I think it's not just technological advances, but also changes in business thinking. But the business of IP is the business of innovation and creativity, which are areas which are naturally very dynamic. So the global IP community has always had to handle big changes and very dynamic developments. But certainly for areas like AI and quantum computing and the metaverse, these new business models and new technology will change the way we look at IP. So if you look at ChatGPT, which is now making headlines everywhere, what these AI models do is that they draw on a lot of databases in order to learn. But in drawing on these databases, there may be copyright issues. And then there are some of these AI art generators, which again draw on a lot of existing art in order to generate new art. And the question then becomes, are there copyright infringement issues? And in the creation of new art, in creation of new music using AI, how do we handle the issue of whether AI can be named as an inventor or composer, an author? And I think these are very, very interesting issues that the IP community will have to deal with over the next few years.
Right, in the very near future, of course.
Yeah.
Mr. Tang, you mentioned Hallyu earlier on, and Hallyu, if I may say so myself, it has been enjoying phenomenal success in recent years, and there are efforts underway to better support related initiatives. What are your thoughts, perhaps, on Korea's plans to strengthen its creative industries under the context of IP, of course?
I think Hallyu has been one of the most phenomenal successes in the last few years. It's really dominated the world now, and it's showing that IP is not just part of growing an innovative economy, it's part of cultural soft power as well. We were tracking that because of Hallyu, Korean is one of the fastest growing languages in countries as diverse as Argentina and Germany. People want to learn Korean, eat Korean food because of Hallyu. I think also in terms of economic success, Hallyu now brings in $12 billion worth of export revenue for the country. And earlier in the program, you were sharing that the #1 streaming show on Netflix now is Physical 100. Last year, it was Squid Game. And we have data to show that 60% of the 220 million Netflix subscribers last year watched at least one Korean title. So Hallyu has been a great success. And I think what's probably next for Hallyu is that as we evolve new platforms like the metaverse, virtual reality, I think Hallyu will find that it will merge more and more and blur the lines between technology, entertainment, and lifestyle. And a company like Hype, for example, I believe that they're also beginning to grow a technology platform. And technology platforms will become entertainers as well. You think about Amazon Prime or some of these. So the worlds of technology, entertainment, lifestyle that used to be separate is going to come together. And this will pose new challenges for the IP system. And I think it's going to be very exciting. I think Korea, as a country that's very comfortable with technology, very comfortable with mobile, very, very open towards new trends, will be at the forefront of these developments.
Hopefully. Yes. Mr. Tang, you mentioned concerns, challenges that is, and the global popularity of K-pop, it's shed new light on Korea's copyright protection. Yeah. That being said, could you touch upon the importance of copyrights for us, especially within a digital society?
You know, as a former jazz pianist who gave up music to become a lawyer, this issue is very close to my heart, because for musicians and those in the artistic industry, those who are artists, when they create, they need to protect their creations, because often what happens is that if they're successful, it gets copied. So copyright is a very important part of the basic tools that they need in order to earn a living from being a musician or artist. And so what WIPO is doing is that we're creating this new project called WIPO for Creators, which is a platform where we are encouraging experienced musicians to share with younger musicians or those who are about to enter the music industry for the first time, what are the basic knowledge for IP they need to know in order to earn a living. Again, I'm here to invite Korean musicians and artists to be part of this movement. I hope to see some big Korean names who are successful and experienced in this area to be mentors for the next generation, not just of Korean artists, but world artists as well.
Well, we'll keep our fingers crossed for that. Mr. Tang, you've highlighted the importance of small businesses seeking intellectual property protection. I believe this was an interview I saw you on, I think, Channel News Asia, early September last year. And you talked about how very important it was for these small businesses to seek intellectual property protection. Would you like to elaborate on that here as well?
You know, in Korea, the headlines are dominated by the big companies. But in reality, 99% of Korean companies are small, medium enterprises, and together they constitute 80% of Korean employment. If small companies and medium SMEs don't understand how to use IP, then there's a big gap of wasted opportunity. And studies have repeatedly shown that companies, SMEs that use IP, are able to generate a lot more revenue. A study in Europe recently showed that SMEs in Europe that use IP as part of their business strategy earn up to 70% more revenue per employee than those that don't. But even in Europe, which is a long tradition of IP, only 9% of SMEs use IP as part of the business strategy. So what WIPO is trying to do is that we're trying to build a more inclusive IP ecosystem that reaches out to SMEs, startups. This morning I was in DCAM to meet with the startups. And beyond SMEs and startups, right, is to help them to understand IP from a business angle, not from a technical angle, in a way that the business owners can understand so that they can use it as a powerful tool to protect and commercialize their ideas. So that's what we want to do. IP is a way to bring their ideas to the market.
Right. And within the IP context, what can you tell us about its importance in empowering women, the youth, women and the youth, of course?
Well, it's part of the whole WIPO priority to build a more inclusive IP ecosystem. Traditionally, the IP ecosystem focuses on big multinational companies, and there's nothing wrong with that. But now we need to reach out beyond the big companies to the SMEs. And as part of that movement, right, we need to reach out to women and young people. Women, because despite advances in gender equality, there's still a big gap in gender, a big gender gap in IP, innovation, and technology. For example, in the international patent applications before WIPO, only 16.5% are by women, and that's not where we want to be. In Korea, the figure is a bit higher, it's about 23%, 25%, but still it's not good enough. So we are making a big effort to reach out to women and to bring more women into innovation, to make them feel comfortable with the idea of innovation. And I think this year's World IP Day that we celebrate on the 26th of April will be around the theme of IP and women, accelerating innovation and creativity. As for young people, they are the future innovators and creators of tomorrow. And we need to reach out to them to tell them that, look, you need to love, have that curiosity, enjoy innovation, build the culture of confidence and innovation, and let them know that WIPO is here to help them on the journey when they want to innovate, when they want to create, and so that later on as they become innovators and creators, they know that IP is a tool for them to help them meet their aspirations and bring their ideas to the world as well.
Right. Yeah. And talking about women in IP, I believe during your talks with President Yoon Suk-yeol on Wednesday, you'd also talked about the importance of allowing women to better access intellectual property. Could you tell us a bit about your exchange with him?
Well, I think we spoke a lot about how to build a more inclusive IP ecosystem. You know, how can we reach out more to young people? How can we reach out more to women? He was very keen to make sure that the benefits of innovation spread evenly across Korean society. And just before I came here, I had lunch with the Korean Women Inventors Association, which is celebrating their 30th anniversary this year. And the current commissioner of the Korean IP office, Commissioner Lee In-sil, was the former president of the Korean Women Inventors Association. So we're exploring programs in which how can we work in a concrete way, because WIPO doesn't want to be just an agency that does a lot of talking. We want to be an agency that acts as well. So we're finding projects on the ground to do with the Korean Women Inventors Association. And we want to bring the Korean experience to other women inventors and entrepreneurs around the world. So I think there'll be a lot of work that we'll do in this area. We are looking forward to getting Korea's support in this area.
Right. Mr. Tang, how does WIPO look to further perhaps boost collaboration among countries to better protect intellectual property?
I think this is very important because while inventing something and dreaming about a new idea is something that happens on an individual basis. But to take that idea to the market, to make it reality, requires a team effort, requires a community. And we at WIPO believe that IP is a bridge that connects different communities together. Let's take, for example, climate change technology. Created maybe in a university in Korea, but maybe the application of that technology can be halfway across the world, in Argentina, for example. So we want to create all these platforms, for example, WIPO Green and other platforms, right, that bring people together so that innovation can really make an impact on people's lives. And a lot of the work we're doing here is to work with the Korean IP ODA, Korean Overseas Development Assistance, so that the Korean experience, right, can be brought to other parts of the world as well. So this way we can create a spirit of collaboration around the themes of innovation and creativity.
And speaking about Korea, Mr. Tang, speaking within your capacity as the head of WIPO, what role perhaps could Korea adopt to better promote intellectual property across the globe?
Korea is leading in a number of and experimenting in a number of areas that other countries are only beginning to embark on. For example, IP financing, which is how do we help innovators use the IP they have created to go to the bank and ask for a bank loan and to pledge the IP as collateral. So Korea is one of the leading countries in the world in this area. We hope to bring that Korean experience through the IP Overseas Development Assistance programs. And Korea is one of the biggest supporters of WIPO through these programs. We hope to bring these experiences to other parts of the world that want to pick up and want to initiate and put in place these similar programs as well. Another area in which I think Korea is helping to support the world is that yesterday I just signed an MOU with the Korean Ministry of Culture, Sports and Tourism, WIPO, Korean IP Office, as well as the Korean Development Institute, to create a master's program in innovation and development. And this master's program will be open to foreign students. We'll give 20 scholarships every year. And one of the graduates last year of this program, her name is Liliana da Silva. She's from Timor-Leste. She graduated from the program, and now she's become a WIPO consultant to help Timor-Leste set up its first IP office. So you see that a program that works in Korea has not only changed her life, but it has the potential to change the country's economic development as well. And these are the ways in which we think Korea can continue supporting the work of WIPO. And here's why WIPO wants to continue working with the Republic of Korea to make sure that IP is not just something for certain countries, but all countries can benefit from the IP system.
Right, that is good to know. Mr. Tang, we have a few minutes left, which is why I'm probably going to ask you a very general question about some of the tasks that WIPO has for this particular year. It's still early on,
yes.
But what tasks do you have lined up for the rest of 2023?
So a big area will be on IP in women. We are about
which is going to take place in April.
Which is going to take place 26 April. We're about to launch our IP Gender Action Policy, which is how can we work with all the different countries around the world to help women entrepreneurs, women scientists, women engineers to use the IP system to earn a living. So that's going to be one big area of priority for us. Another area that we're going to work on a lot is IP financing. We do want to create more awareness about the use of IP as a financial asset. In country like Korea, it's become more and more understood. But in many countries around the world, it is still a very new way of looking at IP. We want to bring this awareness to the rest of the world. We are going to work with other UN agencies to do this. And then one of the areas of priority is how can IP support the Sustainable Development Goals of the UN? The global challenges you mentioned, climate change, water, education. How can innovation be part of the solution to address these global challenges? So a lot of what we're going to do this year will be to see how innovation, how WIPO can support other UN agencies and support different countries to come together in a collaborative way to find technology, to find new ways to solve these global challenges.
Oh, I see. I'll keep my fingers crossed for you. And before we end, just one question, a personal question, if I may, Mr. Tang. You mentioned earlier on that you are a jazz musician who became a lawyer. Maybe a very brief response regarding your change in profession. Why was it?
You know, my father is a traditional Asian parent. He sat me down when I was still in law school and said, "Young man, don't make your passion your profession." And he said, stay on as a lawyer and you can continue having music as a hobby. I think this is one of the things that we as Asians, maybe we need to change our attitude. And I think right now, even in Korea and Singapore where I come from, I think people are more prepared to tell our kids, make your passion your profession. And I think in the area of innovation and entrepreneurship, certainly having a passion to make a difference, right, is so important as part of life. So maybe, I don't know, maybe if I was born now, I would be a jazz pianist instead of at WIPO.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
But still, we're happy to have your WIPO, though. Yeah. All right, Mr. Tang, thank you so much for your thoughts today, and thank you for being here in person.
Pleasure, yeah. Thank you so much.
Right, well, that is all the time we have for this week's editions of Issues and Insiders. We'll be back same time next Monday. Join us then. Have a good weekend.